Hey, basketball fans, we're back at it again here at Poway High School, where Cathedral Catholic just knocked off the Poway Titans, and we're here with Mozzie. Kaylee. I screwed it up earlier, so I wanted to make sure we got it right. Kaylee and Rose, and Rose is a three-point shooter, and these two girls are putting up huge numbers every night when it comes to points. So you had 15 tonight, you had 10, and then you had 6, which hitting threes, it doesn't really matter. You're still contributing. But anyway, what can you say about how you guys played as a team tonight?
I think we did pretty well in the first half. I struggled very well with fouls and keeping myself focused in the game, but my teammates, my guards, helped with the posts, and I eventually caught up, and the game just went through on with that.
All right, so let's. You guys are top in the county when it comes to free throws, and Rose, I'll let you answer this question. What you guys were talking about earlier off camera, why you guys were successful at free throws, but why are you guys the top in the county when it comes to free throws?
Me? Okay. So we have this thing called 3-minute free throws. So our coach usually likes to blindside us, and he just, in the middle of practice, he's like, 3-minute free throws. So we all have to make two free throws. So 4 in total in a row. And then you have to run for misses, and you have to do it in under 3 minutes. And if you don't, you have to run for it. So just the hard work and effort, and yeah.
Well, it seems to be paying off because you guys are dominating the stat book when it comes to free throws. So you played Poway tonight, and they're a top-ranked team according to us and many teams around the county. They have a lot of size just like you guys do. How tough was it to get points down in the paint tonight?
It was fairly tough because, we haven't really played teams that matched us in size. And so on defense, we really had to keep our hands high. And, we got in foul trouble in the beginning, but then our coach kind of,
laid it into us.
Yeah, she did. And she was like, don't foul anymore and be smart. And so I think that was motivation for us to work harder.
Mozzie, you're fighting down there in the paint. What was it like being down there with in a physical matchup tonight against Poway?
It was difficult. They have some really nice bigs in there, and it's very hard to guard them. So what I have to do is just front them, try to stay as tall as possible, but stay low at the same time.
You guys are doing really well, rebounding as well. Rose, what can you say about your help when it comes to rebounding and opening up more three-point opportunities for yourself?
It's a really big help when Mozzie and Kaylee and all our bigs just go in there and rebound and work hard, because then us guards have more opportunities to shoot, so that's really a big part of the game.
You guys look really good on defense throughout the game, and statistically, you guys have the most defensive rebounds out of any team in the county. What can you say about how your team plays defense?
Box out.
Box out.
That is the key. We can box out.
That's Cathedral Catholic for you. It's been a fun interview with them. I am a fellow Don, so it's always fun to interview fellow Dons. Roll Dons? Roll Dons. For more on Cathedral Catholic, Haseen caught up with their head coach.
This is Haseen. I finally get to catch up with Coach Jackie Turbin after a big win over a really strong Poway team. It's a back-and-forth game. Tell me your overall impressions of how your team played tonight.
They played extremely hard. Not very smart defensively in the first half, but just kept it a game. So to have a 2-point game at halftime with our bigs in foul trouble just felt exactly where we wanted to be. And then to come out like we did in that third quarter was just impressive. I wasn't sure we had that much in us. We attacked, and we played really smart defensively and forced them out of the action that they wanted to run. So I am really pleased with the effort tonight.
You mentioned the third quarter, 10-0 run to start the half. What was that in the locker room to get them going?
You know what? We laughed a little bit, kept it loose, and just said, we're right where we want to be. Just talked about a little bit of X's and O's, just some shots that we want to look for. We come right out, hit the first one, and I think everybody kind of took a breath, like, hey, there it is. And really, the defense sparked it. We just talked about being smart and pressuring their guards, and I thought we were able to do that. So it's impressive.
You guys are a big team, but they're a really big team.
Yes.
Talk about the challenge that their size presented tonight.
I love their bigs. They've got some size and youth and some veteran there, so it's a little bit of both, and just knew that was something we were going to have to watch out for. But I tell you, I think we got 2 of the best in the county, and so just we don't need to junk it up. Just front them, make them work, and then make sure our guards do their job on the picks and help on the backside. And if they lob it, they lob it. But those kids work hard and have great hands and just work for position. And Coach Truesdale does a great job giving them looks. So we knew one of the things we joke about is we're never holding a team scoreless. They're gonna get a few buckets. Just keep those runs short and then make sure we respond. So it was not about holding them to zero. It was just making them really work for every point they got. And I thought we did that. And then foul trouble forced our hand into kind of junking up some of the defense, and that turned out to be a positive for us. So it was good stuff.
Well, you mentioned your front court. I agree they're probably the best front court in the county. But this is probably the second time or third time I've seen you. Every time I see your team, I'm really impressed with the development of your young backcourt. Talk about your freshman guards.
Oh, freshman guards are top notch. They're fearless. I think that's the biggest thing. They just they play like upperclassmen. They're not afraid of the big shot. They're not afraid of the moment. They're not afraid to bring the ball up. They're not afraid to get in somebody's shorts and make them work on defense. The biggest thing is just letting them see the whole picture, and the rest just let them just go. They've been working hard before they got to me. So I don't take any credit for that. They come in and just, I'm letting them be them. And it's taken a lot of pressure, this step from last year to this year. They are a big reason for that. They help open things up for our front court. So when they hit big shots, they attack hard. That opens things up for the offensive board or for the dish and those things. So extremely impressed with their poise and just fearlessness. That's a great word to describe them.
And lastly, you guys are off to a great start. Got some really good wins on your belt. You beat this team tonight, the Poway team. You beat Mater Dei. You played Mount Miguel tough. You got some talented players waiting to get cleared when we get into league play. How good can this team be?
We'll see. We'll see. I want to stay healthy. I want to keep grinding. We've obviously got some goals set, but really it's still just one game at a time. We're getting used to this feeling and this trying to string some wins together. We didn't do that last year. So for me, it's not winning a state title. It's one game at a time, one tournament at a time, one league opponent at a time, and then we'll put the whole together, and I think we'll have something special at the end. So
thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck. Great win tonight. Good luck the rest of the season.
thank you.
Hey, basketball fans, back at it again. Thanks a lot to Cathedral Catholic basketball program for taking the time to talk to us after their big win against Poway. And for Haseen Williams, I'm Braden Soprenet. Another edition of the girls basketball podcast. And let's give a little recap of today's game. What did you see good from both Poway and Cathedral?
Two of the biggest teams in the county, two really good front courts, both for Cathedral and for Poway. I think halftime Poway kept it really, really close, but I kind of got the sense that coming out of the second half that Cathedral will make a run. A little better guard play right now, and that's kind of was the difference late in the game.
We were talking earlier off camera during the game that this is the first time that both Poway and Cathedral have played somebody around their size in the paint. So what can you say about the battles that happened down low with the probably two of the biggest teams in the county?
It was fun to watch, and plus the refs were letting them play. A lot of physical inside play, but the thing I like about both these teams is they're big, but they really pass the ball really well big to big. A lot of good high-low action from big to big, a lot of cutting, so they don't just – it's not just their size. They move well, they pass well. Both really, really good coached, fundamentally sound teams that are really fun to watch.
And with their size, they're able to get a lot of boards. And Cathedral Catholic has the most defensive rebounds in the county, according to the stats that have been uploaded to Max Prep. So, as a coach, Diamond as a coach, what are the pros of having your team be so aggressive on the boards, defensively or offensively?
Well, defensively, it's a part of defense. So a lot of times, you want to tell your kids it doesn't matter how well you defend if you're not going to secure the rebound. So I always say defense is not over until you secure the rebound. Offensive, it means more possessions. More possessions means more shots, obviously, also could lead to more fouls. So it's always a good thing when you're controlling. If you look at wins and losses, you always see the team that controlled the glass is usually going to come out on top.
Cathedral had a lot of opportunities tonight where they did get rebounds on the offensive boards, and Poway, like you said, they had to guard for 30-plus seconds, and at the end of the day, they did guard, but Cathedral was able to get 2 points, maybe 3 points out of the possession.
Definitely, or like I said, a foul. So it's also disheartening when you defend that long and then you don't come away with a stop. So it kills your spirit in so many ways if you don't secure that rebound.
So that was the game today. Let's talk before we get into our top tens. Let's talk about last week a little bit, and not really last week, but Friday, Saturday, and then Monday of this week. There were a lot of telling games. So let's start with last Thursday. Actually, we were at El Cap, but there were a couple other big games going on in the county, and one of them was this Cathedral Catholic team against Mater Dei, two top teams in the county. What can you tell us about how Mater Dei is playing so far this year?
They're really tough to judge because they've had a really tough schedule. But the Cathedral win over Mater Dei is probably one of the signature wins so far this season. Really opened our eyes to actually how good this could be. Because the schedule that Mater Dei's played, it's really hard to really tell who they are yet, just because they've played so much out-of-section competition. We know they're talented, but as we get closer and they start to play more section teams, they had a big game tonight against Christian. More section competition will really get a feel for who they are.
The other game that was pretty telling was Bishops got their first loss last week, which was against Torrey Pines. Torrey Pines not necessarily on our radar, but what can you say about that Bishops-Torrey Pines game?
Well, they had a big injury. Bishops had Madison Shang was injured with a thumb injury. So when you're a team that's that thin as far as numbers and production, I think she probably averages 20 points for them. They only play a rotation of 6 or 7 at most. So no team can really afford to lose a 20-point score, but when you only have 6 players, you really can't afford to lose a 20-point score.
Especially since she was one of our top performers last week when it came to three-point shooting. So that's a huge loss for Bishops. Let's move into Saturday. And this game is a game that I thought was probably the most telling, as I keep using that word telling over and over again, because we're trying to figure out who's good and who's not. And when we come out with our rankings, this is valued a lot. But Vista Marietta, out-of-section team, came down here and basically dominated every team in San Diego except for one team, Mount Miguel. Mount Miguel was able to beat them. What can you say about Mount Miguel beating Vista Marietta?
If I missed on a team in the evaluation so far this season, it would have to be Mount Miguel. You can't blame me. I mean, they lost their point guard going into the season. Again, another team that doesn't have a lot of numbers in terms of the amount of kids they play, so to lose their point guard was huge. But like you said, that Vista Marietta team knocked off Mission Hills. They knocked off this Cathedral team we saw tonight. They knocked off a good Eastlake team, and they beat Mater Dei. So that's a huge win for Mount Miguel, not only for them, but also for some section pride, knocking off Vista Marietta.
Yeah, big win for Mount Miguel, but Mount Miguel has a lot of signature wins early so far this year as well. So that's the game we're talking about for Saturday. Let's move on to yesterday, and the biggest game was probably Mount Miguel Poway. We just saw this Poway team play, and you just talked about Mount Miguel, but Mount Miguel was able to win by 10 points. I think that solidifies the fact that they're definitely a top 5, definitely top 3 team, and our rankings show that. So we won't beat the horse too much there. But what about Bonita Vista? Bonita Vista is another team. I mean, they're just sticking at 2 teams. I think they beat O'Farrell Charter earlier this week by like almost 90 points. So that's another team to look out for. And they beat a Sarah team last night. You were at the game that people, you can make the argument, deserve to be in the top 10. What can you say about Bonita Vista beating Sarah yesterday?
So Sarah was a team that was definitely knocking on the door as far as the rankings go. Bonita Vista, up until that point, hadn't really been tested as far as the level of competition, but they looked really, really good. Their defensive pressure was crazy. They really couldn't Sarah couldn't get in the rhythm because of the pressure of Bonita Vista all night. We always talk about Charlotte Tone. They're not just a one-man team, though. Everybody, they got a couple people who could score. They got a big night out of freshman Julia Cosselin last night. So we're really going to find out who they are with the upcoming game that we're going to talk about a little while.
All right, so let's get into our rankings now, and it's Hasim's rankings and my rankings put together. That's how we decide it. So La Jolla Country Day is the unanimous number 1 for both of us. We both also agreed on Mount Miguel being number 2. The only difference we had was number 3, and it ended up being Bonita Vista in our rankings is number 3, followed by Mission Hills, Cathedral Catholic, who we just saw, Mater Dei, Bishop, Santa Fe Christian, Mira Mesa, San Marcos, with Poway, Eastlake, and Christian knocking on the door. But Christian lost to Mater Dei today, so we'll see how it plays out. That's our top 10 rankings. What is the team that stands out to you in this group of 10?
Well, other than we talked about Mount Miguel, they're obviously probably the hottest team. But I'm going to talk about Mission Hills. There's been a lot of chatter, social media, about why they're still ranked, looking at their record. This will be a big week. They do play a Christian team that you said just played Mater Dei close. it's hard for us to over-evaluate the record, the wins-loss record, when you look at the strength of schedule they've had. So I'm interested to see if they're going to prove me wrong or if they're going to prove a lot of those doubters right.
So the thing is with rankings, and it gets confusing and heated, and we saw it. You see it in the football in the county, you see it for volleyball, you see it for every sport. People want to know, well, that team's 2-5, or that team's got a losing record. Why are they ranked? So what is the biggest what do you have to tell most people about when it comes to rankings?
So for us, the biggest thing that we do is we actually watch teams. So I know that's a weird concept for some people to understand, but we actually go to the gyms. We compare things such as common opponents. So we look at who they've played, who the teams that they've beat have played. If it's about stacking wins, a lot of teams can do that. But the thing that we're going to, as far as our evaluation, we want to reward teams that are playing tough schedules, that are really testing themselves, especially a team like Mission Hills. They've proven that they're the cream of the crop in San Diego, so their schedule is based off testing themselves against the state and the country for that matter. So we're not going to beat them up too much. I'm quite certain once they get into section play, they're going to show us who they really are.
Right, and they usually pan out at the end because when they start playing each other in the section, it usually works out for the people that rank it, or you're able to see who's good and who's not. It's incredibly hard to come up with rankings, so take it easy on each other when we're all discussing teams. But it's all fun opinions on social media, so that's that. So let's talk about top performers of the week. I have mine, you have yours, so let's get with mine first. Ellie Turk of Foothills Christian. She's averaging 25.2 points per game. She's killing it out there in El Cajon. And then Noemi Farfan of Calvary Christian. She's getting 7.8 steals a game, and she's killing it for Calvary Christian. And then Jada Davis-Mack, we were going to talk about her last week, but we didn't. She is at Bishop. She is a freshman, and she has 6 double-doubles in 9 games. So that's my top 3 performances of the week or so far this season. Who do you got?
Keep jumping back to Mount Miguel, but I'm going to go with Kamara Douglas. She's a senior forward for them, averaging about 17 points, 10 rebounds a game. Key to everything they do. Just a real high energy player. I saw Westview play Temescal Canyon, and they have a senior guard, Julia Dalkey. Hit 9 threes in the game, 1 shy of the school record, so shout out to her. And then last one, talk about Kristen Williams. She's a freshman guard for this Christian team that we keep talking about knocking on the door. Probably one of the best shooters in the county, regardless of class. So Kristen Williams, Christian Patriots.
Those are our top performance. Let's get some team stats real quick. Madison Warhawks, shout out to you guys over there in Claremont. They're doing really well. They lead the county in field goal percentage and points per game with 73.5 points per game, but I won't bore you with stats. Bishops is another one of those teams I want to give a shout out to. They are now leading in three-pointers made. They have 93 three-pointers made this season. Shout out to Cheng, who's probably accounted for a lot of them, but like you were saying, it's not just one girl. They just shoot the 3-ball.
They shoot the ball. They shoot the 3-ball.
And then the last one I want to give out to, it's kind of a 1A, 1B type deal, but it's for steals per game. Bonita Vista and Liberty Charter both lead the county in steals per game with 24.7 steals per game. So those are our shout-outs, players, teams. Real quick, let's get into next week. There are a lot of good games. Not necessarily next week. I lied. It's the rest of this week because it's only Tuesday. So Thursday, we got big games. Christian, Mission Hills, Montgomery Lincoln, Cathedral Catholic, who just played, taking on LCC. Friday, we got a battle of top 3 teams, Bonita Vista and La Jolla Country Day. And then on Saturday, La Costa Canyon and Mount Miguel. If you had to pick one game, I'm going to lie, you're going to pick more games. Give me the best 2 games that you would like to see, and then tell us why.
I'm excited for Mission Hills Christian. Like I said, Christian is really good. People are doubting Mission Hills, so that's going to be a really telling game. And then I will be at that Bonita Vista La Jolla Country Day. I'm really excited at that. Country Day is #1 team. Bonita's knocking on the door, really a little bit still untested, so this is going to be a good test for them. Excited for those 2 matchups.
We're excited for the rest of the week. Everybody left here, so it's just us in the mural, so it's time for us to head out. So for Haseen Williams, I'm Braden Sprennett. We'll see you guys next week.